Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us on this week's edition of the Milford Informer. I am your host, Tim Coet. We have several different news items for you this evening, including our first sports highlights of the winter season. Let's get to exactly what we have coming up in tonight's Top Stories Rundown. Tonight, we'll show you the routine that earned the Milford High School cheerleading squad a third straight state title, and we'll hear from the squad as they were honored by the Board of Selectmen. Also tonight, we'll give you a brief recap of some of the information presented at last week's Zoning Board open hearing regarding the proposed 40B apartment complex in Milford. And also tonight, we'll have the latest installment of Dr. Kevin McIntyre's Superintendent Update series. We begin with some exciting news out of Milford High School. For the last 2 years, we've had a chance to recap the success of the high school cheerleading squad as they brought home state titles in both 2015 and 2016. Well, the success just keeps on coming for the squad as they made it a three-peat, winning yet another state championship earlier this month. Earlier this week, the team, along with their head coach Heather Johnson, was recognized by the Board of Selectmen. We will show you what the board had to say, but first, we are happy to show you the full routine that won Milford their third straight state title.
Please welcome onto the mat the cheerleaders of Milford High School.
Our first order of business is to recognize some of our students here at Milford Public Schools. They're the 2017 MIAA State Cheerleading Champions. What I'd like to do is have your coach, Heather Johnson, come up and say a couple of words.
Thank you for having us. I appreciate it. My team are not only the 2017 champions, but we are the 2015, 2016, and 2017 champions. We are back to back to back.
Awesome.
Yes, I competed, had 23 participants in the fall. We won the state championship on November 19th. We do compete co-ed. We do have 2 boys that are unable to be here tonight, so we won the large co-ed division for the state of Massachusetts.
Do you want to introduce your captains,
I
or do you
sure
want
do.
us, because again, we have citations for all of them,
Yeah,
so we
I would love
recognize
to.
them.
I would love to introduce my captains. So I do have 3 captains. One of them couldn't be here tonight because she's not feeling well, Stephanie McCrae. Then I also have Gianna Lanzetta. You want to stand up, G? And Kirsten
nice to see you.
Bunnington Davis. They are the senior captains. Do you guys have anything that you would like to share?
You can sit down, but do you want to tell us anything about your experience?
I think that this season had a few ups and downs, but overall, like, the outcome of it really, like, just showed, like, that it's all worth it and that we all love each other. We're all, like, one big family. So, I don't know, just winning, like, 3 years in a row, it's been such a great accomplishment, and, like, we're all super happy about it.
That's awesome. Gianna?
Yeah, the same thing. We had a really rough start to our season, and as you know, we had that car accident before states, and we went through a lot as a team this year, but like Kirsten said, we all love each other, and we really just pushed through, and we had a really good season. So it was nice senior year to go out with winning states. So
Put a lot of pressure on the underclassmen to keep
yeah,
up.
definitely.
Heather, do you want to talk about what's next? I know the Nationals are
Sure,
coming up.
absolutely. So we are heading to Dallas, Texas, January 25th through the 29th. We are going to be competing at NCAA Nationals in Dallas. It's a very prestigious high school national, one of the 2 biggest ones in the country. This is our first time going there. We have attended nationals in the past, but we went to Florida. This will be our first time there, so I'm super excited. I've never been to Texas, and not only is there going to be great competition, but there's a lot of historic stuff in Texas, so I'm super excited about that also.
Heather, we also have a citation for each one of the ladies, but we also have one for you, and they all read, "Be it known that the Board of Selectmen hereby offer their congratulations." In this case, Heather Johnson, coach, in recognition of a successful and exciting season in winning the 2017 MIAA State Cheerleading Championship. On behalf of the people of Milford, the Selectmen extend their very best wishes and express the hope for future good fortune and continued success in all endeavors, given this 11th day of December 2017, signed by Michael K. Walsh, William D. Buckley, and William Kincaid. So congratulations.
Late last week, Milford's zoning board held a public hearing regarding the proposed 40B apartment complex developers are hoping to build off of Route 16 across from Whispering Pine Drive. Representatives for the project were on hand to provide information and also to answer questions from members of the zoning board as well as residents. Here now is just some of the information that was discussed at the hearing.
This is on the application of EM Street Milford LLC and Eden Management of 171 Lock Drive, Marlborough, Mass. For a comprehensive permit pursuant to Sections General Law, Chapter 40B, in relation to a 16-acre parcel. I believe it's a 160-acre parcel of more or less of land located on the westerly side of East Main Street, numbered as 462 to 466 East Main Street, which parcel is owned by EM Street Milford LLC. The property is shown on the Milford Assessors Sheet, which is Sheet 30 and lots 34, 34A, 34B, and 34C. The petitioner proposes to develop and construct a 300-unit residential housing development in 2 buildings to be developed and occupied on the site. 75% of the units will be classified as affordable as pursuant to the applicable provisions of the law and requirements of the financing agency. All copies relative to this hearing have been submitted, and therefore we will continue on with the hearing. Please note Town Council is with us tonight for any additional questions or concerns and any clarity on any type of regulations and rules. We also have Town Engineer Mike Dean here tonight. We have the Sewer Commissioner John Mainini. We have Town Administrator Rick Villani. I see in the audience we also have Board of Selectmen Mike Walsh. And did I miss anybody else? Dave Condry from the Milford Water Company. So welcome everybody, and let's move forward.
The project, as you can see behind you, will be called Robsham Village, and the project will be served by, we're hoping, public water supply, although we're told that that's still a work in progress, and we will have a private groundwater discharge permit wastewater system on the property. Before I turn it over to the engineer and he gives you more details about this, I just want to say a few words about 40B. I asked your town council how long it had been since you've seen one. It's roughly 2008. I'm told. So for those members of the board who weren't here and for the public generally, I thought I would just give you a basic primer on Chapter 40B. The Comprehensive Permit Statute was adopted in 1969 by the legislature, and it's been in place now for quite a few years, approaching 50. It is called the Comprehensive Permit Statute because this Board of Appeals, issues a single permit that covers all other aspects of permitting within the town of Milford. So if we needed to go to the planning board for a conventional project, we come here. If we need to go to the Board of Health, we come here. All of the local permits are subsumed within this process. This project is in what I would call the upper end of 40B projects. I've seen 40B projects and worked with towns in which all of the units are affordable or half the units are low income. That's not what we're proposing here. We're proposing 75% market rate and 25% moderate income. Moderate income is 70 to 80% of area median income adjusted for household size. You're in the Worcester area, I believe. The median income for a family of 4 here is about $80,000. So adjusting that down to 70%, a family of 4 that earns $66,000 to $74,000, which is 70 to 80% of area median income, would have the opportunity to rent a 4-bedroom unit. There's a mix of bedrooms. The architects will give you the specific details that we're proposing. You should know that Mass Housing requires us and you to approve 10% of the units as 3 bedrooms. That came into being 3 years ago. It's a new regulation for your purposes. So we're abiding by the regulation and we're doing that.
In regard to the amount of vehicles, was an option of 2 entrances, exits considered, or is one sufficient considering the amount of, once again, vehicles and tenants and in size?
When Daniel was talking about wetlands and access into the site, what we're showing you is what we can accomplish. If we were to try and go out the adjacent roadways, we'd be encountering significant wetlands crossings to the north. And what's the name of the street?
Wildwood. Wildwood.
Yes. So Wildwood would require a huge wetlands crossing, and we don't really have any place else to go.
But isn't safety a factor with the amount of vehicles entering and exiting the facility when it comes to bottom line?
Absolutely. And I think what we've done with the design is sufficient. But Sean, if you want to wade in, please.
Just to amplify and help answer a couple of your questions, I think as it relates to access, I don't know that it makes a whole lot of sense to have this connect into another residential neighborhood. I don't know, if I lived in that neighborhood, I don't know that I would particularly want that. While it looks like a sizable project, having the one driveway that connects to a main corridor, Route 16, is the right way to go. When you've got ledge, you've got wetlands, you're obviously landlocked by 495. I mean, there are a lot of obstacles to getting another access point that would really be viable and make a whole lot of sense. I think what we have, really does make sense. It's logical and it's sound.
You mentioned the tax dollars, which obviously sound good, $29,000, $800,000. But there's a correlative there too in terms of studies that you may have done in terms of students. Obviously, children coming into a community are a significant drain, can be a significant drain, obviously, in those tax dollars. So we might be making $800,000, but we could be spending a significant amount because of a significant number of students. Have you done any studies based upon your experience with that you can ultimately, not right now, but provide to the board as to what the anticipated student population might be in a development like this?
We'll be happy to share that with you.
Okay. And another question too, it didn't come up, it typically does, I've seen in proposals where they're for apartments, and Mark, maybe you can tell me if the law has changed. My understanding has always been that apartment units count in full, the full 300 units would count towards our quota, if you will, in terms of affordable housing.
Exactly right.
That has not changed.
No, as long as 25% of the units are moderate income and deed restricted as such, you get all 300 units on your subsidized housing inventory.
Okay. And
we have to do a minimum of 30 years. If you want perpetuity, you tell us that, and we'll work with you to. I usually say perpetuity or for the longest period allowed by law.
What would you say to the people that do live by Route 16? What benefit other than a financial benefit would this provide to those people? Because I bet a lot of them are here. Thank you.
Yeah, I think we talk about creating a sense of community. We talk about restoring access into areas that are further into a site that would allow people to enjoy parts of that site. You know, it's along the same lines of what benefit does a subdivision give you? What benefit does a retail area give you? I mean, each of them means different things to different people. I strongly believe that what this will do is this will allow people that are such as my age, I'll be 60 this winter, all right, who are looking to get out of the house and looking to live in a turnkey environment, that they can be snowbirds or whatever. I think this will satisfy a large audience, whether they be in Holliston, coming down Route 16, or in Milford and living along Route 16. I think it'll give people the freedom to do things by choice that right now they're stuck shoveling snow, raking leaves, and doing a lot of other things that don't befit their lifestyle or what they'd like to do. We add to that some of the recreational attributes that I've described earlier. I think that this thing could be a good thing for the town, especially if we work with the town and we work with your department heads and we accomplish the mitigation that we find mutually agreeable. I think that this could work for you.
We do have the full hearing airing throughout the week on Milford TV, and it is also available for viewing on our YouTube page. Next up, we have the latest edition of our Superintendent Update series, where Dr. McIntyre is joined by Special Education Director Lucy Jenkins to discuss social and emotional learning within the Milford Public Schools.
Hello Hawk Nation, I'm Kevin McIntyre, Superintendent of the Milford Public Schools, and this is the December Superintendent Update. Today I want to talk to you about social emotional learning and the long-range education planning process. Lucy Jenkins, our Director of Special Education, has joined me today. Lucy, what is social emotional learning, why is it important, and what are we doing in the Milford Public Schools?
Social emotional learning is a process of acquiring and applying knowledge, skills, and attitudes that are necessary to understand and manage our emotions, set and achieve positive goals, feel and show empathy for others, establish and maintain positive relationships, and make responsible decisions. Everything that we want for ourselves and our students. A successful education isn't just about academics. As educators, we want our students to know that we care about them and want them to succeed in school and in life. SEL provides a foundation for positive and safe learning so our students are more engaged, behaving appropriately, and performing academically. There are 5 keys to successful SEL: self-awareness, self-management, responsible decision-making, relationship skills, and social awareness. We're doing so many things in our district to promote SEL and involving everyone in the process: our students, teachers, administration, families, and community. Some of the things we've done: we've purchased second step curriculum for pre-K through grade 2. We've incorporated mindfulness in the classrooms at the elementary level. We've purchased a buddy bench for Brookside Elementary School. We've purchased and distributed hundreds of seeds of happiness to promote happiness and positivity in our schools. We've also brought in consultants to speak about the science of happiness to our entire faculty and have participated in several professional development opportunities on SEL. As a district, we have opportunities to collaborate with staff during Twitter chats twice a month. Our assistant superintendent began these chats at the beginning of the year, and staff participation has doubled. These chats allow us to talk with colleagues about education, academics, and SEL, and have fostered a very positive culture. We've worked with parents in our district to determine how we can best provide resources to help them foster SEL in the home and in the community settings.
Thank you, Lucy, for sharing about SEL in the Milford Public Schools. I want to shift gears and talk about the long-range educational planning process. The New England School Development Council will be visiting and assessing each of our school buildings in December and January to begin the long-range facilities plan, which is the next phase of the long-range educational plan process. I anticipate this process will be complete in the late spring, at which time we will reconvene the long-range educational plan committee to review the results and begin to develop the final draft of the plan, which we hope to complete before the close of the 2018-2019 school year. Once the draft is complete, we will present the information to the community and incorporate any feedback we receive. Thank you for watching, Hawk Nation.
After snow on Saturday wiped out what should have been the season opener for the boys basketball team at Hopedale, the Hawks would officially get their season started on Tuesday as they welcomed in the Kelly Rex Division King Philip Warriors. Let's take a look at full highlights from the game. The much-anticipated season debut for the Scarlet Hawks boys basketball team took place this past Tuesday. The new-look Hawks hoped to give their energized fan base a good show as they matched up against a traditional early-season opponent in the King Philip Warriors. Milford was without the services of their starting point guard Shane Cosquet, who suffered an injury in practice, and early on you could see the Hawks would struggle to find a rhythm on offense. The Hawks would eventually get the scoring started on the night with the captain Caden Kelly making a nice move to the rim for 2 points. After Kelly scored the first 4 points for Milford, he turned facilitator on this trip up the floor, dishing to a wide-open Zach Tamaro who would nail the 3 to put Milford up 7-4. It would be a sluggish start to the game as both offenses would try and work through the early season kinks. Eventually, Joey Everett would connect on an off-balance shot from the free throw line to collect his first points in a Milford uniform, and that would end up capping off a very low-scoring opening 8 minutes of play. Into the second quarter now, KP's dynamic big man Kyle Lehman would show some nice finesse getting the shot to fall to cut Milford's lead to 1. But on the ensuing trip up the floor, Milford would immediately respond as junior captain Brendan White would drill a three-pointer for his first points of the night. As the first half continued to wind down, Milford would get solid contributions from a couple of juniors on their roster. Brendan Saylor would get an extended look at the point in Cosquet's absence. Here Saylor shows great toughness down low, sticking with the play, and would eventually come through with the reverse lay-in. Later it's White and Saylor teaming up to set up Caden Kelly with another good look inside to tack on to the lead. And then it's back to White, who sneaks through the back door to get the layup and the foul. White couldn't convert on the free throw, but Milford would pull down the board, and Tamaro would produce his second 3 of the half, pushing Milford into a double-digit lead. KP's senior Pharaoh Davis would round out the scoring in the half, putting in his 5th and 6th successful free throws of the quarter, and so as the teams hit the break, Milford would enjoy a 24-15 lead. We'd see more good work from the tandem of Saylor and White to begin the second half. Saylor finds the junior captain with a no-look pass, and White takes care of the rest to re-establish Milford's 10-point lead. White would have a chance to further increase the lead minutes later, but he'd miss on a pair of shots from the line, which turned out to be a sign of things to come later on in the half for the Hawks. KP would capitalize on those misses as senior captain Tom Madden would take the ball to the hoop the other way. He'd chip in the and one to bring the score to within 7. After a Pharaoh Davis bucket kept things going for KP, Bruce Santullis would produce his first points of the night as he caught the Hawks napping down low, and suddenly the Warriors would make it a 2-possession game. Tom Madden would then look to narrow the gap further, but watch as the combo of White and Joey Everett team up to deny the KP bucket. That would give the Hawks a bit of a jolt, resulting in back-to-back buckets from White and Saylor to give Milford their largest lead of the game at 34-23. It felt like Milford was well positioned to take control of the game, but the Warriors refused to give in. KP would close out the third quarter on an 8-2 run, highlighted by this buzzer-beating 3 by Santullis, and that would bring the Warriors' deficit down to just 5 points, with the game shifting to the fourth quarter. In the opening minute of the fourth, Joey Everett would show off his quick hands as he'd pick off the pass from Nolan Bradley. As he took the ball the other way, he'd get fouled on his way to the basket. But just as Milford struggled from the line, going 1 for 5 over the first 3 quarters, Everett would suffer the same shooting woes, missing both of his free throw chances. Everett would stay active on the defensive end, coming up with another steal on KP's next trip up the floor. He'd dish the pass ahead to Kelly this time, who would get the bucket and the foul to give the Hawks a 7-point lead. But again, just when you thought Milford had the game in hand, KP would find an answer. With less than 4 minutes to go and Milford up by 6, Pharaoh Davis would shoot the pass out to junior star Kyle Lehman, and Lehman would drill a long-range 3 at the shot clock buzzer to cut it to a 1-possession game. One of the biggest difference makers in this game was each team's performance at the free throw line. KP scored 20 of their points on the night, courtesy of free throws, including 9 in the fourth quarter alone, while Milford would shoot less than 50% from the line. A Tom Madden free throw here with under 3 minutes to play would ultimately tie the game at 44 after Milford had led all the way. Under 2 minutes to go now, KP would look to deliver a fatal blow, setting up Lehman from three-point range. The junior would misfire, but Santullus manages to tap the ball back outside, where this time Nolan Bradley lets it fly. It was the senior captain's only points from the field on the night, but they would be critical as KP seized a three-point lead. Milford would try desperately to come back in the closing seconds, but they would be unable to come up with key shots when they needed them, and the Warriors would go on to seal the win from the free throw line. It was a resilient performance by KP and a disappointing fourth quarter collapse for the Hawks. King Philip ends a 2-game losing streak to Milford as they win this one by a final score of 53-47. Sadly, the girls did not fare any better in their season opener. The girls traveled to Wrentham to take on their counterparts from KP last Tuesday, and despite a 22-point performance from senior Kate Irwin, the Lady Hawks would go on to lose by a final of 64-56. Both teams will look to get their seasons on track tonight. While the boys are on the road visiting Franklin, the girls are at home for what will be their only home game in the month of December. The game is underway as we speak between the Lady Hawks and the Franklin Lady Panthers. We will show you highlights from that game here on The Informer next week. And now let's get to this week's upcoming events. Here's one final reminder that coming up this weekend, the Greater Milford Ballet will be holding their annual holiday run of the Nutcracker. This year marks the 37th year for the Greater Milford Ballet putting on this holiday classic, and the troupe promises this year's show will be bigger and more colorful than ever. The Nutcracker performances are taking place this Saturday and Sunday, December 16th and 17th, over at King Philip Regional High School in Wrentham, with both performances beginning at 2 p.m. To purchase last-minute tickets to the Nutcracker, you can call the phone number 508-473-3354. And coming up on Sunday, Sacred Heart of Jesus Church will be hosting a children's Christmas party. The party will feature a host of fun holiday activities, including face painting, coloring, and photos with Santa. A full lunch will be served at the party, and parents are asked to bring a gift with the child's name on it. Tickets to the children's Christmas party are $5 for children ages 5 to 12 and $7 for children 13 and over. The children's Christmas party is being held inside the Bell Tower Room in Sacred Heart of Jesus Church on Sunday, December 17th, beginning at 11 a.m. Before we wrap up the show, here's a quick programming note for next week. We will have more boys basketball action on Milford TV coming up on Tuesday as the Hawks take on the Taunton Tigers. It's a 6:45 scheduled tip-off, and we will be streaming the game live on milfordtv.net and also on our Milford TV educational feed on the Livestream app. We hope you check out our coverage of the game, and we hope you'll tune into The Informer once again next Friday night. Until then, from all of us here at Milford TV, this is Tim Coet saying have a great week. So long, everybody.